It is our second day of exploring this beautiful city of Sofia, Bulgaria, and it's a little bit colder today, so we decided to start by filling ourselves up with some nice comfort food, some tripe soup and meatballs, but now we are going to head to some sites. Unfortunately, like I said, it's pretty cold today, and it's actually starting to rain, so I'm not exactly sure how long we're going to be able to be out, but we're going to try and push through and get to all the sites that we're trying to see.
It turned to winter so fast.
Within a matter of like a few days, it went from completely super hot summer to now it feels like winter. Sabrina's not loving it. Something that we learned yesterday that is super cool is that there are quite a few Roman ruins here in Sofia, and some of those are inside of this encasement that I'm walking around right here. Actually, while we were going into the metro yesterday, we discovered some Roman ruins inside the metro. Apparently in 2012, when they were digging out underground to build part of the metro, they discovered these ancient Roman ruins just underground, all these different rooms and things, and it's incredible. And so here there's some more underground ruins that date back a really long time, and they have some plaques explaining what it was. But seriously, this is such an incredible city that there's just underground stuff that they didn't even, the craziest thing to me is that they didn't even discover until 2012. Sabrina's enjoying it. So yeah, unfortunately it's closed today, but luckily the enclosure for it is glass, so we can still pretty much see in and see part of the ruins.
And if your eyesight is better than mine, you can read the inscriptions on the plaques that I'm struggling from here.
Masonry tomb with semi-cylindrical vault, well painted, with an inscription that reads Honorius Service.
Seriously, the only thing I could make out was tomb with. That's the best I had.
Jeez, baby. Dated in 5th century AD. Wow.
That's crazy.
Oh, so that translates to Honorius, slave of God. Nice.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I can't see it, but in my context situated. Oh, I can totally read it now. We visited this cathedral the other day, and I had no idea. It was like a 2-minute walk from our apartment, because we kind of circled around to get there the other day. I said I wanted to see it one more time before we leave, and I didn't know how close we were to it, so I'm glad we got to see it again. It's so unbelievably gorgeous. This guy has one of the more intense eyes that we've seen in a statue. Are they actually painted?
They don't have, yeah, it looks like
they're
blue.
white and blue, yeah. It's terrifying.
Very intense.
Marshall's getting to help us out with his practice of the language. He deciphered that this is Samuel. I would have gotten nowhere near close.
I was confused for a second though, because that C looks like a G. I'm like, I don't think they have like a G-looking character in Cyrillic, in Bulgarian Cyrillic.
Yeah. Well, now that we got creeped out by this man's eyes, we're gonna keep speed walking around because it's starting to rain a little bit.
Yeah, it's getting heavier.
And my fingers are getting colder.
Right next to those archaeological remains was the Monument to the Unknown Soldier, which, if you haven't heard of those, it's a monument to all of, in this case, the Bulgarian soldiers who were either lost or unrecovered. It's just a monument to commemorate all those soldiers who were not properly buried, and it's always nice to see in the city.
Oh, that starts tomorrow. That'd be something I'd be interested in. Why are you filming?
You just look so chilly.
I am so chilly. Your hands are chillier.
Since we were so close, Sabrina, of course, had to come and admire the church again.
This is so pretty.
This has been your favorite one, right? From the outside, at least?
I don't know. I feel like I have favorites in different categories all the time, but I feel like this one's just the most incredible one to stand underneath because it's so massive. It's just so cool. I love it.
So when it's raining out, I guess the metro gets really lively. There's live music in here. The McDonald's is packed. Much more lively than it was yesterday or a few days ago. It was also way warmer down there. So maybe those people had the right idea hanging out in the metro. So coming from the last monument, which was definitely not controversial, we're going to one that actually has some controversy behind it. It is the monument to the Soviet Army, which, this being a former Soviet country, I think they don't generally look fondly back on those times. And so having a huge monument in the middle of the city to the Soviet Army, I could see being a bit controversial. There's actually paint splattered on one of these. I don't know if this is actually this is one of the monuments. I don't know what this one is for. But yeah, I think this right back here is the monument to the Soviet Army. So this monument was erected in 1954 and celebrates the 10th anniversary of Bulgaria by the Soviet Army. So at that time, they were definitely very grateful to the Soviet Army. I don't know exactly of the current stance towards it, but it definitely is a really impressive statue and a pretty cool looking square.
So there's construction, there's scaffolding all around the statue.
Yeah.
But on the cover, does that have history on it? Is that like something that's supposed to be like they're taking advantage of the construction to add more of like a plaque on the statue? I guess I can't.
Yeah, it looks like a family tree sort of up there. Something I didn't know about the Cyrillic alphabet is that a lot of these countries, they actually have different versions of the Cyrillic alphabet. So here they have Bulgarian Cyrillic, which has a few different characters. And I've just found it so cool to see the differences in the different countries that we've been in. Like here they have a backwards R that sounds like a ya. And I just think it's so cool. One of the things I mentioned in our video in Banja Luka is that I think the way that policia is spelled on the side of all the police cars looks super cool. And I finally got a video of it, but it's actually spelled slightly different here because they have that backwards R character, and I just love the look of it. This beautiful circular building behind us that looks a lot like a church was actually built in the 4th century and was meant to be used as Roman baths. So this whole area around me that is now kind of ruins was pretty much a bathhouse. It was then converted apparently during the Byzantine and Roman periods into a church. This building was. But the fact that it started as a bath is just really cool. It's now the property of the Orthodox Church, and so I think it's going to cement its legacy as an Orthodox church. But I think the origin story of it being a hot spring and a bath is just super cool.
It feels a little intimidating walking around in here because the presidential palace is right, like you have to walk through the gate like under the presidential palace to get into the square, and so there's a handful of very armed guards they walking around, and it feels like this is the place that we're not supposed to be.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're very much allowed to be here, it seems. So I don't know, it's just a little intimidating.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. They had the 2 guards standing there completely motionless right outside the doors, and then they've had some people in military uniform walking around. So probably one of the more heavily guarded places in Sofia.
It's so funny how where you enter can give you such a different feel for a place, because the presidential palace is over there, but there's also an entrance right here where it seems so much more clear that you can walk around in this, and there's plaques and signs and everything, and I don't think there's armed guards on that side. So we just chose the intimidating way to go. And a souvenir shop.
We briefly went inside the church, but they didn't allow any pictures or videos in there, so unfortunately we can't share it with you. But there were some beautiful frescoes in there, and it definitely was very peaceful and calm, and just I don't know, it was a really beautiful church, and we're happy to have visited it. right next to the church we were just at and the presidential quarters is this building, which it was meant to be the administrative headquarters of the socialist government. It was actually built during the 1950s and is one of the biggest buildings in town. And I don't know what it is, but I just really love the architecture from the Soviet period. It's very bland, but I guess this one's not quite as bland at all, actually. It's not bland, but it's very like monotone colors, and they have the big gold letters at the top. It's pretty much just an administrative building, but I think it looks incredibly cool, so I had to share it. And it's so massive, so it's really hard to miss if you come here.
We just have one more stop before we call it a day, and it is the St. Nedelya Church, and according to Google, it says it's open for another 40 minutes, so hopefully we'll be able to go inside.
It's way bigger than I thought. I really had no idea what you were talking about.
We've passed by this multiple times, and in trying to get directions to it, I could not figure out a way for Marshall to know what I was talking about. We've passed this at least 3 times on this trip.
I was expecting something way, way smaller. This is, yeah. I'm happy this church ended up being a closer walk than we thought it was going to be. We have fit in so much more today than I thought we were going to, with how it's been cold and drizzly the whole time we've been out, but we actually had to see a good bit. Luckily, It helps that, you know, we've walked probably a total of like 20 minutes between everything because everything's just so close. Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a good day. I'm glad we got to get out. We've had a great time in the city, and we'll see you in the next stop.